Now, I'm only going to deal with evidential facts here. So it's all provable. All this is what we're saying is, don't just trust me and believe what I'm telling you. Look for yourself. We've got a Facebook group page, Practical Lawful Dissent. If you go in there and have a look in the files, you'll see all the evidence, there's templates, there's all kinds of stuff that you need to know about entering into lawful rebellion and actually using the process to a successful end. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions about lawful rebellion, one being the barons. The Barons Committee, which was a quorum of 68 originally, set up 25 of their number to look at whether the invocation of Article 61 was going to be necessary. So, this was in 1999. They set the quorum up and they discovered that the Nice Treaty was a treasonous document, and that they had an obligation under the common law, under constitutional law, to petition the monarch not to give royal assent or to ratify the Treaty of Nice. Now, the barons have been vacant. They've been AWOL. Since they invoked Article 61 for the people to use, they've gone AWOL. So the oath of allegiance that we write up and send to one of these barons is basically to prove with the document of our intention. So we're standing under Article 61, Magna Carta 1215, pledging allegiance to the barons as long as they comply to constitutional law. And that's the big crux of it. They're in service to the people. It's not the other way around. They already served the people by invoking Article 61, which is evidential fact, as I said. You can check this out for yourself on the group page. We've got letters between the Barons Committee and Sir Robin Jamfrin, who was the Private Secretary of the Office of Sovereign at the time. We've also got Daily Telegraph reports of the invocation of Article 61 done by Caroline Davis from Daily Telegraph, written up on the 24th of March 2001, so you can Google that. You can see that it has actually been invoked, and it's not denied that it's been invoked. It can't be denied because it's all evidential fact. So we've entered into lawful rebellion by sending an oath of allegiance to one of the barons. There's a file in the group page of all their names and addresses, of current names and addresses of the barons. So we just do this to prove that we are not standing outside of the law. In fact, we are the only group in this country who are standing under the law. Because if you read Article 61 of Magna Carta 1215, you will see that it's every sovereign man and woman's duty in the entire Commonwealth to support the barons in this process. Or you're basically aiding and abetting a treasonous regime. You have a duty. Everybody of this land has a duty to protect the laws that protect us. People need to understand is we're standing under the laws that protect us. If you read Magna Carta, you'll see that we have the rights to trials by jury. We have the right of habeas corpus. We have our inalienable rights codified into a treaty so that they can't be denied by any dictators that may come along in the future. And that's what these treaties are about. They're about codifying our natural inalienable rights that can't be given nor taken away. Why wouldn't you want to protect your inalienable rights to justice? Because that's the trouble what we've got in this land today. Why wouldn't we protect our system of justice that actually protects us from this criminality, these corporations that are trying to take over the planet? Well, we're doing it, and we're finding that we're having success with what we're doing because we're standing by our guns, and all we're doing is evidencing facts to those that are making demands on us. We're proving that Article 61 has been invoked, and therefore they have a duty to stand under it. Every individual does, and that we have a lawful excuse not to contract or to adhere to anyone making demands on us that are not standing under Article 61. That's the basic premise of what we're doing here. We send three notices. We start with a notice of conditional acceptance. So we will accept your summons or your fine or your demand for whatever it is on proof of claim that you have authority to issue that summons, demand or whatever since the Article 61 came into effect. In our notices, we basically just ask that one question. Have you the authority since Article 61 was brought into effect on the 23rd of March 2001? And like I said, so with the courts, they don't respond. And we carry on with the three processes of notices, which is the second one is the notice of default and opportunity to cure, to give them another chance to make good on the first notice, which they've acquiesced to. And the third notice is a notice of default, saying you're now in default, you agree there's no claims against me, kind of goodbye. And you can see that process done against Yeovil County Court by Danielle de Lioness on the Facebook group page, and it's a very simple process. And they ran away. That was 3 months ago. She had 48 hours to present herself for a 7-day prison sentence after she just ignored the first 2 summonses, and this is over on water and sewage charges, which incidentally she's very much against paying because Margaret Thatcher stole the water companies in 1986. She privatised them, stealing a public service, and the sentence to 7 days imprisonment has now gone away. And we'll keep you all posted on that process. We've now served them all with the fourth notice, which I haven't mentioned yet, which is the notice of misprision of treason. They're running away from us. As soon as we hit the treason matter, they don't want to know. Because once we've evidenced these public servants, then of the treason matter, they come back at us, they're committing high treason at common law, and that is still a capital offence in this country. So they're a little bit concerned about doing that. The 1911 Parliament Act was a treasonous act, and so since 1911 laws have been passed that haven't gone through the correct protocols of constitutional law, and we've therefore have laws that are fascist being imposed and ratified or given royal assent by the monarch, which incidentally is either usurped or deposed, and that's not for us to judge. That would be for a trial or a jury to judge that. That brings me on to Magna Carta again. Now, Magna Carta is an obligation by royal command. Now, it is by royal command because this was put in place in case the monarch was usurped. So that gives the people remedy, and a peaceful remedy, if it's done correctly, against the usurpation of our sovereignty, basically. The Queen is in service to the people. She's supposed to be in service to the people. The people are sovereign. She holds the sovereignty under the Coronation Oath Act, where you can see, because it was televised, that she swore to uphold God's law and the constitutional laws and customs of this nation. So it is not us that are outlaws. It is the government who are in outlawry. And at this time, all police constables are operating outside of the law. And that's an evidenced fact. You can just check it out. Right, they're planning on obfuscating the Magna Carta and creating a new Bill of Rights. Well, we've got to be mindful of this because we don't need a new Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights we've got protects us. It's just more codified natural law that protects the people. And all we want in this movement is to evidence the treason matter, because that will get that out of Europe. Because once one act of treason has been proven to have been committed in a court of law, then all EU treaties will be null and void. And this is why they won't give me a properly convened court de jure trial, and I have sought remedy 2 years ago, and when they dropped everything and ran away from me because I hit them with treason notices, and they're denying me that inalienable right which I've got under Magna Carta as well. So anyone that delay or denies my right to justice is committing treason. So they all back off. They don't want to put their names to treason. You know, let's stop doing this. It's crazy. Ever since we entered into the common market, all prime ministers in this country have been appointed. They've been appointed by the Bilderberg Group. Now, Sandy spoke a little bit about the Bilderberg Group. They are under the United Nations. They are part of the United Nations. The Bilderberg Group set up the EU, and this was all set up after the 1944 meeting of generals in Berlin, and the introduction of a document which you can see is a World Cup document. I can't remember the number of that, but it's called Europäische Wirtschaftsgemeinschaft. Now, if you read, you'd have to translate it, but if you were to read that, you'll see that it was brought into being. It is almost verbatim to the Maastricht Treaty, and so you can see that how they've brought in Hitler's idea of Europe into being by the treasonous treaties, and Maastricht was another treasonous treaty. The Lawful Rebellion movement has lobbied UKIP and Susan Evans. We went after the Green Party in London a couple of weeks ago. Natalie Bennett did a talk at Brick Lane, and we attended this talk, and she just ran away from the question. I was first in there with that the voting had dropped since 2001, and I asked whether that was because of the invocation of Article 61, and none of the panel would touch this. And we had a bit of fun there, but they wouldn't touch it. They just, Natalie Bennett later on in the talk just ran out of the building as soon as a colleague of ours mentioned the word treason. So they know. What we're suggesting is not taking to the streets, right? What we're suggesting is to either send an oath of allegiance to one of the barons, or if you're not comfortable doing that, declare your standing to either an alleged authority like a chief inspector or a manager of a court or whatever, or a politician. You can declare your standing in Article 61. You can put it in a document, a notice of conditional acceptance, a notice of lawful objection. I'll just explain quickly a notice of lawful objection, because if you've got nothing coming after you, you've got no claims against you, no demands being made against you, and you really want to get off your arse and actually put Article 61 into effect, you can lobby the local police chief inspector, state your standing, provide a copy of your oath, and ask if there's any objection to your standing, because you don't want to come into conflict with the policy enforcers. And you can get a little process going there. The premise behind using notices on public officials, alleged officials, is to educate. That's formally what we're trying to do here, is to educate people en masse. So if we send notices to them, we're being honourable, we're giving them a chance to remedy the matter, we're giving them a chance to understand Article 61. And so if more of us are doing this, the word would be getting out there a lot quicker. And if they don't agree, or if they lie or ignore us, then we can go after them a bit further, as I said earlier, with notices of treason. And that gets them either backing off or talking to you, we hope, in future. So far, they're just backing off. So, but that's the remedy. They back off. They want you to go to court, and you hit them with this stuff, and they back away, and the summons goes away, the prison sentence goes away, and that's evidence fact. This is all I'm saying. We're using this process, and it works. We don't go to their courts, because to do so, we're giving consent to their courts, even by standing in there and saying, well, you've got no jurisdiction. We've actually given consent to it by walking in there.